So I've just created a sequence where when I talk with this guy, he'll go ahead and give me some dialogue. But he's not doing any animation, and I'd like to add an animation. So I'll now go ahead and show you the process of creating your own animation libraries. Like before with the sprite collections, we want to have access to Unity's default windows, the hierarchy, the inspector, and the project view. Instead of going into the sprite section, we have to go to a very specific folder. In this case, it's under the shmup folder, under resources, and under anim libraries. There's a bunch of prefabs in here already set up called anim library and the name of some character. I'm going to go ahead and create my new animation library here. I can do that by right-clicking, going to the Create menu, TK2D, and then select Sprite Animation. It'll give us a default named Sprite Animation library, so we're going to have to go ahead and rename this. And I'll call this anim lib wiki demo. Now it's incredibly important that it's inside this anim libraries in the resources folder. If it's not, these animations won't load while the game is playing. So if you have an animation set up on one of your sequences and it's not playing, be sure that your animation library is within this folder. Now, like with sprite collections, there's a specific editor for making animations. We get access to that editor by selecting the object in the project view and then seeing in the inspector the Open Editor button. That'll open up our sprite animation window. I'm going to dock this too. To get started, we need to actually create an animation to work with. You can do that with the button in the top left, the Create button. We're going to create a new clip. This gives us a list of clips on the left side, a preview window where we can see what animation is playing, some properties about the animation itself, some properties about this specific frame, and then down here a timeline, which allows us to pick which frames we want to animate. Now there's a lot of detailed documentation involved on how to use this window on the 2D Toolkit website, which you can always look up, but I'll show you the basics here. We're going to go ahead and give this clip a name. We're going to call this Guy Talk. I want it to loop because I want to play back and forth forever because it's a lip smack animation. Now I can go ahead and select the collection and then the actual sprite in that sprite collection from the drop down menu to select what sprite I want for this animation frame. But I can also use this ... button, which will open up our sprite collection selector. Just like when I selected the object, I can go down to our wiki demo collection and I can select the frame I'd like. Well, this animation only has one frame, so I need to go ahead and add another one. When I press the plus button, it'll create another frame using the same sprite that we had in the previous frame. So I just simply hit this ... to select our collection and change the sprite. I can go ahead and hit play to preview it. And we'll see that it's actually playing incredibly fast, maybe way too fast. So I'm going to drop the frame rate a little bit down to 10 frames. And now we have something that looks a little bit more appealing. Last thing we need to do after we've completed our animation is go ahead and commit these changes. And now that the changes are committed, we're ready to actually load this sprite up in one of our actions. Let's go back to our Mazer Maker display and bring open all of our Mazer Maker windows. Now I already have my sequence selected where we go ahead and show this talk dialogue. And at the same time, I want to play an animation. So I'll select the play animation action. I'll select the object, the wiki object. And it loads up a default weapon animation library, which is not the one we want. We need to go ahead and look for our animation library wiki demo, and we can select the Guy Talk animation, which is selected by default. And we can see that he's playing that animation. I want this to last 1 second, and I want this to play the previous animation after we're done. Let's go ahead and try it out. And now we have our dude talking.